What is going on, everybody? It's the Feuds, and we're here for a Monday Night Raw review for October the 5th, 2020, as we are on our way to Hell in a Cell, the last pay-per-view in the Thunderdome, and I don't know what WWE is going to be doing after that. However, tonight we had Randy Orton and Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre, and I believe it was the Street Profits, or what was it? It was, hold on here. It was, the Street Profits. Also, we find out who is leading Retribution for reals. And honestly, I think a lot of people were actually calling this, but it's not going to save it for me. Retribution, I'm glad they got it off of SmackDown, because SmackDown actually has things that I'm interested in, from The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, Roman Reigns, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. Keep this garbage on Monday Night Raw. Orton is backstage somewhere. He says he didn't leave Clash of Champions with the WWE title. He left in an ambulance. He doesn't remember a lot from the ride, but he does remember his match with WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. He remembers the Big Show chokeslamming through an announce table. He remembers being ambushed by Christian. He remembers Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels hitting him with the sweet chin music, and he remembers McIntyre kicking him and closing the ambulance door, locking him in the ambulance, which was driven by Hall of Famer Ric Flair, causing him to lose consciousness. He felt nothing but darkness and pain. Fast forward to Raw, and McIntyre stood in the ring with his mentors, celebrating. Just thinking about Drew standing there with a title he doesn't deserve makes him sick. He says they laughed, celebrated, played poker. The saying goes, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. After the actions the WWE legends took at Clash, he felt obliged to treat them to an equal and opposite reaction by reintroducing them to the Legend Killer last Monday on Raw. Orton needed to guarantee they all saw and felt everything he did when those ambulance doors closed. When he killed the lights, they all saw the same darkness he did and made sure they felt the same pain he did. Orton goes on and talks about the Legends how the Legends Panic show tried to fight back with Orton. Because how he took him, they both knew no one could help him. Orton crept up on him and wiped him out. Say hi to Edge for me, before putting him down. He goes on about him, recalls how Michaels tried to use the chair he was sitting on, but Orton used it on him. Flair was trying to get out of the door, but he also met his fate. Orton wishes, and of course the reason they had no lights off is because WWE is not going to show anybody attacking Ric Flair. Ric Flair's in his fucking 70s, for crying out God fucking loud. That's not going to happen. Orton wishes he could have seen Drew's reaction when he witnessed the price paid when you cross the Legend Killer. Orton says the bill has not yet been paid in full and won't be until he's WWE Champion. Orton says this isn't over until he says it is. He stated last week that Drew still has the hell to be paid. He speaks directly to Drew now and says he will tell anyone that will listen that he wants to cement his legacy as WWE Champion. Legacy will be waiting for Drew if he survives one more title match against Orton inside Hell in a Cell. The door suddenly swings open and Drew is there. Orton stands up and the steel chair is blocked as Drew attacks. Drew threatens Orton and loads on him, mounting him and punching him and asking what he knows about Hell. WWE officials rush into the room and pull Drew off of Orton, allowing Orton to slither away and run out of the room. We go to commercial break, officials holding a furious Drew McIntyre back. Now, I don't care about this match. You had Drew lose at SummerSlam, clean. You had you had Randy Orton lose at SummerSlam, clean, with a backslide. You had him lose to Keith Lee 1 week later, clean. And then, lo and behold, we get to Clash of Champions. The biggest reason the rumor and innuendo was going around is that Randy Orton was going to win this way because they did not want to pin Drew. And what happened? A 3-on-1 assault onto Randy Orton. The heel, mind you, costing him the WWE Championship. What in the little fuck was that? You have taken any interest I've had in Orton's character and killed it. This just doesn't make any sense why you continue to push this when that's the result we got. I don't want to see this match. I don't think anyone else wants to see this match. It's a foregone conclusion. WWE is going to either give the title to Randy Orton, as we all expected at Clash of Champions, or they're going to keep it on Drew McIntyre and kill Randy Orton off completely, putting him back down to where he was before he turned. He pretty much destroyed Randy Orton. Edge at the beginning of this year. All that stock they put into Randy Orton from the night after the Royal Rumble all the way to SummerSlam stalled. Payback stalled. Clash of Champions stalled again. I don't get it. There's supposed to be no automatic rematch clauses, but we knew that they would probably have a rematch if Randy Orton won. It's either put the title on Randy Orton at Clash of Champions or move Drew McIntyre on. But that's right. You don't have anybody else to put against Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins has already been done and dealt with. He's still dealing with Dominic Mysterio and them for whatever reason. Andrade, nowhere close to being ready for that. Aleister Black, nowhere close to being ready for that. Kevin Owens, off doing other things. Who do they have? They have nobody, and that's sad. Zelina Vega, Lana, and Natalya versus Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Asuka. Why is this match happening? Why is this match happening? By the way, Zelina Vega gets a jobber's entrance, so good on them. So, this match happened. Don't really care. Mandy Rose, Asuka, and Dana Brooke won in about 5 minutes or so. Who cares? After the match, Rose music's hit, and the winners immediately get gathered in the middle of the ring. The winners pose on the stage together now, and Natalya is checking on Lana in the ring, which, by the way, what is going on with putting her through a table? It's happening every single week, as you know. Vega is about to make her exit. The music hit. Out come the women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Lana and Natalya try to retreat, but the Trance surround them in ringside, and Natalya tries to hold Lana up. Natalya tries to fight, but Jax drops her with a headbutt. Jax holds Natalya while Baszler clears the announce table off. Jax scoops Natalya up with a shoulder, but Lana makes the save. Jax nails Lana and drives her through the announce table for what? The third week in a row? I understand Vince McMahon is petty as fuck. In the first week, I can understand Mira went out on AEW and cut a promo saying screw Vince McMahon, screw WWE, and screw their glass ceiling. I can see that one maybe. But how many weeks in a row? What are they punishing her for? Is it... I don't get why they continue to do this. It was maybe funny the first time if you want to laugh about it. But it's the same spot over and over and over again. If I'm Lana, I'm fucking saying I'm doing everything to get away from this. I just don't understand why they continue to do this. Back from break, and we get a promo of the 2020 draft, which begin on Friday and start on and continue next Monday. 24/7 Tramp stuff. Don't give a shit. Which, by the way, they haven't confirmed that Drew Gulak is on Raw, but he's been on Raw since Clash of Champions, running after the 24/7 Championship. So I don't understand why he's on Monday Night Raw. We saw Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, and Apollo Crews defeated the Hurt Business last week. Ali, Ricochet, and Crews are backstage now. When MVP walks up, Ali doesn't want to hear his excuses for why he pinned MVP last week. MVP dismisses them and says he heard them talking about the WWE draft. He goes and says one night only he's got an opening in the Hurt Business. He points to how Cedric used to say no, but he finally said yes, and look at his career now. Exactly what have you done for Cedric Alexander's career? He maybe got a win in his first week and then he lost. Is he a champion? Is he a number one contender? Is he fighting for the tag team titles or the WWE Championship? No. So really, he hasn't done anything yet. He lost to Apollo Crews and you sent him off to quote-unquote boot camp. MVP doesn't care if they get drafted to the Blue Brand. They can get a spot in black and gold tonight. MVP walks off and Crews tells his partners not to pay any attention to MVP in his talks. They walk off, but it looks like Ricochet is considering MVP's offer. Seth Rollins Murphy versus Dominic and Roberto Carrillo again. This has been going on since Money in the Bank. This is laziness by WWE. Seth Rollins should have moved on to something else by now. Dominic, and I know they want to get Dominic as much experience with one of the best that they have out there. Two of the best, I should say, with Murphy and Seth Rollins, but come on. I want to see Dominic versus Kevin Owens. I want to see Dominic really versus a Shelton Benjamin, versus a Cedric Alexander, versus a Ricochet, versus a Andrade, versus a Andrew Garza when he comes back from injury. Other people. I know COVID has ravaged WWE to have a limited number to roster, but I would like to see Dominic versus a Bobby Roode, a Dominic versus a Dolph Ziggler in one match and one match only. I want to see him do other things. This is why nobody watches Monday Night Raw, because you do the same shit over and over and over again. There were 2 football games on the night, by the way, because of COVID-19. WWE didn't have a space between the Patriots and Chiefs and the Packers and the Falcons. So, yeah. It's just, they need to do something else. And here's the thing. The only reason Humberto Carrillo is in these matches right now is because Rey Mysterio has an injury. You know damn straight we would see Murphy and Seth Rollins versus Dominic and Rey Mysterio again and again and again and again and again. They are taking the little chant of Fight Forever to a whole different level, and a level nobody wants to see. I don't want to see this, and I know nobody listening to this, anybody who listens to this, wants to see Dominic / Rey or friends versus Murphy and Seth Rollins. Nice long match here. Murphy and Seth Rollins win again. Guess who they pinned? Carrillo leaps off the top, but Murphy catches him midair with the big knee strike in the head. Covers for the pin in the win as surprised Rollins watches from the outside. Who cares? Again, Humberto Carrillo looks like a loser. You're trying to push Dominic to be somebody that we need to care about. He shouldn't be part of losing tag teams. Get these guys on. Get Dominic on to somebody else, please. Get Seth Rollins on to somebody else, please. I would rather see Seth Rollins versus Murphy right now over this. We're going into Hell in a Cell. Have Murphy turn on Seth Rollins and have a match between those two. Move Seth Rollins off of Dominic and move him onto Murphy and get Dominic onto somebody else, because this is getting ridiculous. After the match, the music hits. Murphy immediately marches to the back. Rollins looks like he might have a different tone while at ringside. We go to replays. Murphy glances back at it and doesn't want to hear it. As he keeps marching to the back, Rollins looks to follow him to the back. Again, give me those two. Give me those two at Hell in a Cell. And not a Hell in a Cell match, but a singles match. Give me that. Give me something else besides Dominic versus the Mysterio family and friends versus Murphy and Seth Rollins. I am done with that. WWE produces backstage on the phone with Braun. Strowman approaches and says he knows Raw Underground isn't happening tonight, but he didn't drive all the way for nothing and wants a match so he can give someone these hands. He threatens to destroy the locker room if we can't get a match. Pierce says we might be seeing more of Strowman on after the draft, but since Strowman is SmackDown superstar, he can't book him in an official match, but Pierce can give him an exhibition match. Strowman asks, what the hell is that? Pierce says, assuming he can find Strowman an opponent, the match will not be sanctioned. Strowman says if this means somebody will get these hands, he's alright with it. Pierce says if it's a done deal. Strowman walks off. Keith Lee walks up and Pierce acknowledges him. He says, sign me up. Walks to the back with a smirk. Walks back off with a smirk, my man. We go back in the ring, and out comes Kevin Owens for another must-see edition of the Kevin Owens Show, which, of course, last Friday was by far probably the best episode ever. I'm still loving the Alexa Bliss stuff, and we'll see what happens with that on Friday. Back from break, and his guest will be Bray Wyatt, but with the Fiend show up, Owens enters the ring, and we go back to commercial break. Back from break, and Seth Rollins catches up with Murphy, and he's heated. Rollins says Murphy wants him to apologize, but he thinks Murphy is the one who needs to apologize. Rollins says that Murphy still wants to be his disciple. He has until 10 p.m. to find him and apologize or pay, and he walks off. Tom says WWE Champion Drew McIntyre will give an interview later tonight in response to Randy Orton. In the ring, KO is ready for the KO show. Mike Rome does the introduction, but Kevin Owens cuts him off, and Owens says things are different tonight because he feels different. He realizes that people are right when they say that when the Fiend touches you, you change. He feels change because on Friday SmackDown, he felt the presence of the Fiend for the first time, and it's still with him. He still feels it, the anger, the agony, the dread. That's why tonight's KO show is different. It's not about having a nice chat with his guest tonight. We're not going to need these. He tosses the chairs out and other furniture to the floor. He says tonight's KO show is about that. We see a replay from Friday's show KO segment with Alexa Bliss, which ended with the Fiend putting Owens down with the mandible claw. Owens says it's hard to find the words to explain how that felt. He'll never forget the feeling of the mandible. He can't think he couldn't think or move. He was paralyzed, which, yes, honestly, if you actually do the mandible claw right, you could paralyze somebody for a minute. He doesn't know if it was with these dark, tortured souls or how they have a problem with him, the Fiend, and Aleister Black. Who's next? The Brood? The Ministry of Darkness? Maybe? He doesn't care about that next week. He cares about Bray Wyatt coming down here right now to talk to him. Tells Wyatt to pack up his little sweater vest and come down. Out comes Bray Wyatt. He's on the screen. Abby the Witch is on the background of the funhouse. Wyatt says it's nice of Owens to have him on the show. He says they were friends now. He goes on, and we also see Huskus the Pig Boy, Rambling Rabbit. Wyatt wrote a song about friends, and he performs it. The puppets also sing, but the Mercy the Buzzard was each Rambling Rabbit again. Owens cuts him off and knocks him with the Mr. Rogers ripoff, which it's been a year, and of course, wow, can you believe that this version of Bray Wyatt's been around for a year plus? Owens says they're not friends, but they could have been until Wyatt attacked him on SmackDown. Owens says Wyatt won't be able to brainwash him like he did to Bliss. Owens tells Wyatt to come get in the ring with him so he didn't have to wait until Friday to beat the hell out of him. Wyatt says that's not nice. He doesn't like bullies, and neither does he. And as for Bliss goes, that's none of Owens' business. Wyatt says that's between her and him, and his tone gets more serious. Stares straight ahead of Owens and says, on this week's SmackDown, Owens will know what he's got himself into. Wyatt snaps back to his jolly old self and comments on being friends with Owens one more time. He waves goodbye to Owens and ends the segment. Owens says he knows what that translates to and says he's not waiting until SmackDown. If Wyatt won't come to him, he's going to Wyatt. Exit ring, marches to the back to find the Wyatt, but Aleister suddenly attacks, charges from behind, and drops him on the ramp. Black nails with the black mask to put Owens down again on his face. Black sits next to Owens on the ramp, and we go back to commercial break. Still trying to get back my head around why Aleister Black is turned on Kevin Owens. He said something about because he wasn't there to help him when his eye got knocked out or got pushed out by Buddy Murphy a couple weeks ago. That's the only reason why he's attacking him. I mean, if that's the case, then hitting him with knocking him out with the black mask on that episode of that Kevin Owens show that you were on that's even. What else do you have against this guy? I just don't get it. Charlie Cruz is backstage with champion Drew McIntyre, asking about Randy Orton. Drew ends up accepting Drew's challenge for Hell in a Cell inside Hell in a Cell, which we all saw this coming. Again, I'm not hyped for it. I don't want the match. I don't care about the match. Now let's head to Hell in a Cell on October 25th. Tom says it's a video package looking at Braun Strowman's dominance. Keith Lee versus Braun Strowman. This is an exhibition match, which doesn't go very long. Big boys doing big boy things. Strowman runs around the ring to attack Lee, but Lee clubs him out and unloads. They tango and Strowman whips Lee to the steel steps. The referee calls the match apparently for a countout. After the bell, a furious Strowman yells at the referee from the floor. Tells the referee to watch this and charges to send Lee flying through the barrier. Officials are trying to get Strowman up the ramp, but we see Lee getting back to his feet. Strowman comes back over, but Lee runs and leaps off the steel steps, decking Strowman. They brawl up the ramp to the stage now. Lee sends Strowman flying into the LED boards. Officials tell Lee to stop, but Lee charges as Strowman gets back up and sends him flying off the stage. They are both laid out on the floor next to the stage now. As officials tend to them, we go to replays and commercial. While it goes to a commercial, as officials deal with the chaos with both superstars still down on the floor. So, yeah, Keith Lee versus Braun Strowman would be a hell of a feud, especially if you're going to put Keith Lee over in the end. I think Strowman's coming back to Monday Night Raw. I mean, he hasn't been on SmackDown since he lost at Payback, since the match at Payback. So, I see him not staying on SmackDown anymore. There's no reason to keep him on SmackDown. If you're going to have Roman Reigns be the top heel, and Strowman's supposed to be heel forever, he's supposed to be heel the rest of his career, which that's going to be up to fans, honestly, when we have fans come back. The few that do. But, yeah, he has nothing. He will be the person that you have going after Drew McIntyre if Drew McIntyre happens to win a Hell in a Cell. If Drew doesn't win a Hell in a Cell and it's Randy Orton, then what the hell are we doing? I don't know. We get a new vignette for Bianca Belair. This one focusing on how she's the smartest. Gathers some of her girlfriends for the game night, but she's out too smart for them and they are annoyed by her super smarts. Walks off and they roll their eyes. Whoop-de-fucking-do. We see what happened with Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, and we see more 24/7 shit. Don't care. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews and Ricochet. I don't really care. It's the Hurt Business stuff that's just getting out of it. It needs to end. This is another one of those feuds. I'm getting tired of this. Hurt Business versus Apollo Crews and friends. You have enough members of the Hurt Business. Shelton Benjamin and MVP could be going for the tag team championships. The Street Profits don't have any challenges, really, so get them on that. That would be a hell of a thing. But the Hurt Business end up winning. Lashley drives him in the mat. Lashley tries Apollo Crews in the mat. He tries for the Hurt Lock. Crews, which, by the way, the Hurt Lock is much better than the Fool Lashley, if it's the same. Fool Lashley. Stupid fucking name. Crews quickly taps out for the finish. After the match, Ricochet and Ali pull close to safety as MVP, Lashley, and Benjamin stand tall. In the middle of the ring for the music hits, we go to replays. Ricochet bugs from ringside, telling the Hurt Business they will keep fighting. We see Murphy walking backstage when he sees Aaliyah Mysterio. She's been wanting to talk to him for all night. He wants to apologize and says the Seth Rollins thing has gone too far. Again with the same lines. Says it's not Murphy's fault, but she says it's not Murphy's fault, but it's not her that he needs to worry about. She asks if he's still sending an apology to Rollins. Murphy isn't sure as he walks off. We go to commercial breaks with the countdown clock on the screen, showing that Murphy has 12 minutes left. Good grief. Back from break, and we see the 2020 draft promo again. And then we have the Hurt Business is walking backstage when Mustafa Ali walks up. He wants MVP to bring Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin with him to the ring tonight because he's done with MVP. He's going to start on the other two. A furious Ali storms off. The Hurt Business can't believe they just saw. Lashley and Shelton want to go after Ali, but MVP tells them to hold up. We'll get him later. We go to the ring, and out comes Seth Rollins. Rollins addresses Murphy and says it's time to come when Messiah waits the apology. Rollins looks to the back, and out comes Murphy to his music. He slowly walks out to the ring from the back and heads to the ring, taking some time. Rollins says they can make this quick, move forward. Murphy isn't speaking. Rollins asks him what's wrong because he had an hour to get it ready. Just spit it out and let's get this over with for the greater good. Nothing from Murphy. Rollins says Murphy has seen the firsthand what happens to people who get in the way of the greater good. He goes on about what they have done together, how they plucked Murphy from obscurity and saved his career. Honestly, that's exactly what happened because, Murphy would have been dead in the water if it wasn't for being... He was doing nothing, honestly. He was having losing match after match after match to Aleister Black, and then they joined him with Seth Rollins, and it's been the best thing that's probably happened to Murphy in a while. Rollins says all Murphy has to do is apologize. He repeats himself and says it shouldn't have to be difficult. Rollins is getting upset, yelling at Murphy. He grabs Murphy from the face and yells at him, saying he made Murphy what he is. And then Murphy tackles him and unloads. They go at it. They get up, but Murphy drops Rollins again. They brawl to the floor, and Murphy is in control, fighting over the announce table and into the barrier. Rollins fights back and unloads on Murphy against the apron. Murphy keeps fighting as they go back and forth. Rollins ends up with the kendo stick. Murphy blocks it and takes the stick. Murphy unloads and kendo stick shots around the ring in an area now. He chases Rollins in the ring. Rollins pleads for his knees, but Murphy smacks him in the stick. Delivers more, lands kendo stick shots, and yells at Rollins to apologize, but not to him. Rollins calls out Aaliyah Mysterio's name and says he's sorry. Rollins says he didn't mean to bring Aaliyah into this. Rollins takes off his jacket and shirt, showing Murphy he's done enough to him. Rollins begs Murphy, asking him to please stop. Rollins says he's sorry over and over. Murphy drops the kendo stick. Rollins leaps up from the mat and takes Murphy down, going for his eye. What did you expect? I'm glad that it actually happened. I mean, it needed to happen, but did you really think Seth Rollins was going to let him off that easily? Rollins unloads on Murphy with the kendo stick now. Rollins delivers kendo stick shot over and over while Murphy is down in the crowd. The fake crowd boos. The stick breaks. Rollins goes to ringside and grabs a steel chair. Brings the chair into the ring, but Aaliyah is out now trying to protect Murphy. She tells Rollins to stop. Rollins exits the ring with the chair as Dominic Mysterio runs down to be with his sister. Ray and his wife, Angie, also come down the ringside. Rollins marches to the back. The Mysterios stand together in the ring while Murphy is down on the mat, selling the attack. We see Rollins watching backstage, smiling. The Mysterio family heads to the back together to end the segment. Now, with him smiling, does that mean that we're going to see this turn into a thing where we have Aaliyah turn on her family to join Murphy and Seth Rollins? Please end this already. Again, I would rather see these two in a match at Hell in a Cell and Mysterios go off to do something else. But clearly that's not going to happen. We see the Women's Tag Team Title Championship backstage. And then we have that match, which was supposed to happen at Clash of Champions, but due to probably COVID or getting in contact with people with COVID, it did not happen. We never got a real explanation because that's what WWE does. So, what would be the thing that you would do for this match? Would you keep the titles on the Strange Bedfellows, or would you give it to the team that is an actual tag team? Well, WWE did the first one. Riot tags the back in, but Jax runs and levels Liv. Riot drops Jax with a kick. Baszler ends up hitting Riot down in the carefree to clutch. Liv runs in and tries to make the save, but Jax takes her down, and Riot finally taps out. And the tag team champions retain. Oh boy, what happens now? We're going to have a rematch between these two at Hell in a Cell? Because these are the only tag teams you have for the women's division that matter. I mean, I guess Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke are going to be something, maybe. And of course, Lana has no business being in the ring, as well as Natalya just is Natalya. Liv watches as Baszler refuses to break the hold. Liv runs in and grabs her, but Baszler still isn't letting go. Baszler finally breaks the hold. We go to replays and champs stand tall. An emotional Liv checks on Riot while she's down. The champs stand over them and raise their titles. Street Profits are backstage cutting a promo for tonight's main event. They make it clear that they want all the smoke. Drew McIntyre appears as he agrees. The champions walk off tonight and return the commercial break. Again, the Hurt Business should be going after the Street Profits. You have Bobby Lashley's United States champion. Cedric's probably got Corona and has something to do with Corona, so they're keeping him away for now. He'll be back probably next week. If that's the case, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander could be going for the tag team championships. How hard is this? Street Profits have nobody, and the only other challenges they had are on Smack, or one's injured. I know the draft's coming up next week, so maybe, just maybe, they'll draft somebody to come over. I mean, only tag team you really have on SmackDown is the Lucha House Party and Cesaro and Nakamura, because Kofi Kingston isn't back with Big E yet, and yeah. I have nothing. I have nothing on this one. So we have this match here. It's going on. It's MVP and Ali. And it was an okay match here. But all of a sudden, we get MVP ask Ali if he was with hold on. MVP regroups in the middle of the ring as we see Retribution making their way out. Surrounding the ring, MVP asks if he's with them. Ali turns and stands with Retribution now, ready to fight. We see T-Bar and Mace at the bottom of the ramp. Ali exits the ring with their faces staring him down. Ali then turns and stands with Retribution. He smirks back the ring. The Hurt Business sees what's happening. They get ready to fight. Ali points to the ring and orders T-Bar and Mace to get them. Retribution attacks the Hurt Business. Slapjack and all his at ringside. Lashley, Benjamin, and MVP fight back, but the numbers games catches up. T-Bar rams Lashley into the ping post. Mace and Slapjack hold half the steel steps up, and T-Bar drives Lashley face first into the steel. Mace, Slapjack, and T-Bar stand all over Lashley ringside. Ali watches the massacre, but now he slowly enters the ring. He stands in the middle of the ring. He joins Retribution, Mace, T-Bar, Slapjack, and a few low-level mask members. Ali puts his hand symbol, does his hand symbol by, when he puts his hand out, closes the fist, lights fade to black, and Raw goes to commercial break. So, a lot of people were wondering if the SmackDown hacker, who was going to be Mustafa Ali, would join Retribution. Well, here you go. Is it going to save this? Hell no. Mace, T-Bar, Slapjack, Reckoning, and I can't remember what the other one is, have sunk this any further, lower than it ever will go. This, just adding Mustafa Ali doesn't help this whatsoever. No, it's done. Absolutely done. I don't care about this. I haven't really cared about this. Then you came out last week, was it, I believe? Or, it wasn't last week. It was a couple weeks ago and said, well, we ain't happy that we ain't got contracts, but you're going to give us contracts. And everyone else is taking it for the money. And, of course, the COVID thing happened. I think, Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez have COVID, or have been around people with COVID. So they're going to be gone for a while, which is kind of stupid that you even brought them up for all this shit. And it's here's the thing, if you're having Retribution being this faction beating down the men's division, why did you bring Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim up in the first place? What are they going to do? How are they going to add to Retribution in the end? And now all of a sudden Mustafa Ali has been planning this for a while. All I know is Monday Night Raw next week, Mustafa Ali better have we better see an Aces and Eights style timeline of how this even points to Mustafa Ali being a member of Retribution, because I haven't seen it. I don't think anyone else has seen it. I think people are just guessing. But there really hasn't been anything. I just don't know. Back from break, and Tom Phillips announces several matches stars for Raw Talk. Who cares? We also see what happened with Mustafa Ali, Retribution, and Hurt Business. The announcers wonder how long Ali has been planning this, and Byron says we now know that Ali was behind this group the whole time. Really though? Really? For all we know, Vince McMahon showed up on Monday Night Raw tonight and was like, Ali's the leader of Retribution. I said it now, let's go. I just don't know. It doesn't save it for me. Does it save it for you? Let me know in the comment section below. Drew McIntyre and the Street Profits versus Randy Orton, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. So we have this big 6-man tag match. The biggest reason this is happening is because of what happened with the Legends last week, and of course Drew McIntyre taking on Robert Roode. I think it was for the WWE Championship last week, but yeah, and Ziggler of course is his tag team partner. And maybe this is what we're going to see. Maybe this is the Street Profits' next feud, which would be fine because we haven't seen it yet or ever, and I'm fine with that. Nice long match here, as most main events on Raw sometimes usually are. Dawkins gets tossed out by Roode. Ford with an enziguri to Roode. Ziggler jumps on Ford's back, but he blocks the zigzag. Ziggler ends up hitting a famous on Ford. McIntyre follows up with a Claymore kick to Ziggler out of the ring. He waits for Orton to get up. Drew turns around and hits Roode with the Claymore as he charges. Orton takes advantage and nails an RKO. Drew with an RKO. Orton covers for the pin and the win. After the match, Orton music hits and he exits the ring. Drew is trying to recover on the mat as we go to replays. Orton, Roode, and Ziggler stand tall on the ramp, and McIntyre struggles to get back to his feet as Raw goes off the air. Do you really... See, I don't like this because do I really want to see Drew McIntyre taking a pinfall against Randy Orton with less than 4 weeks before, I think it's a little under 3 weeks before we get to Hell in a Cell. No. WWE does not know how to book things. Ziggler could have taken a loss. Rube could have taken a loss. Ford or Dawkins, I don't know. I really don't want to be seeing the WWE Champion taking a pinfall loss in a non-title match this close to a pay-per-view. I know it could be worse, but it just... WWE is terrible at booking this shit. I would have rather had a no contest, and it would have set up for your feud between Ziggler and Rude and Street Profits and Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. That's where I would have went with it. There would have been some kind of schmoz and would have seen all 6 guys beating the hell out of each other. Referee calls for the bell because things are getting out of hand, and it just goes downhill from there, out of control, and it ends up with Randy Orton possibly hitting an RKO or Drew McIntyre hitting the Claymore, whatever, having the heel stand tall a different way. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about Monday Night Raw. I'm not a big fan of what they're going on. I really don't care about Retribution. I don't want to really see Aaliyah getting any more involved. I just don't want to see the Murphy-Aaliyah thing go any further. It's kind of funny how SmackDown was getting shit on before COVID. At the end of last year into this year and before COVID, SmackDown was getting shit on as being worse than Raw. And during this pandemic era, Monday Night Raw quickly became the worst thing on television, and SmackDown actually has things that people are interested in. From a Bayley and Sasha Banks, from an Alexa Bliss with The Fiend, from Roman Reigns with his cousin Jay, and where that's going to go. That right there is 3 things that you want to be interested in. Nothing on this show is worth a damn. But that is your Monday Night Raw review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below. Like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys Wednesday for the best night of wrestling with AEW on TNT. 30 years of Jericho. Drink it in, man.